In this day, we'll talk about that bulk data load. So using the bulk data load, we can load bulkly multiple data into particular ServiceNow table. So let's say that in the ServiceNow, we have many tables. We already discussed about that. For example, incident table, problem table, right? Change table, right? We have the many table. Along with that, we created a custom table called book table. So in this book table or any of this table, if we want to load 10, 20 or 1000 data, we cannot manually enter one by one the data. If your data is present to the Excel sheet or in XML format, you can directly load the data to ServiceNow instance in any of this table. So for demonstration, we are going to insert all the data into the book table. So let's see that how we can multiple data can be loaded into the book table. We'll discuss in our today's sessions. Also, we have a various method, but main and most important method is the Excel sheet. So we'll discuss about all these points, how we can load the data to the ServiceNow. So let's go back to the ServiceNow instance and understand how it works. So this is our ServiceNow instance, and in this instance, if you go back to the books table, right now I have cleaned all this data into the books table. Now let's say that I want to load multiple data to this table. How can we do that? The first thing or the first method is that doing the Excel sheet. How can we do that? So you can go to this table, and if you have admin role, you can right click here, and then here you have a options called import. You can simply click the import options. Once you click the import options, you have a options called you want to insert the data or you want to update the data. Depending on your use case, you can select that. And then here you can see by default there is a checkbox is checked. If you uncheck that, the other things are not showing. So if you let it be as checked, and then here you will create a Excel sheet. So if you don't have any Excel sheet or if you don't know that how the template works, system can create a template for you. Now here, if you want to insert all the fields, let's say that if I go back to the books table, there are many fields, right? So we have a field called book title, author, SN, price, created. If you want to include all the field into the Excel, this checkbox will be checked. Otherwise, you can uncheck that, and then I know it can generate that Excel sheet for you. So at that moment, I'm not changing anything at that moment, and then I'll click the create Excel sheet template. Once I click that, it will generate an Excel sheet for me, and then I have to click the download. And once you click the download, this Excel sheet is going to be downloaded for me. Once Excel sheet is downloaded, I have opened this Excel sheet, and you can see the name of this Excel sheet is u underscore book, which is nothing but the table name. So table backend name, u underscore book is the table backend name. And then first in that we have a two sheet here. You can see the first sheet is saying the direction, and here we have a couple of guideline of how we can use the Excel sheet. And if I go back to the page one, I will be able to see all these with all this field name on the header, Excel header. You can see these all are the field name of that our table. So in the book table, we have a field called book title, author, SN, price, created. These all are showing here. Now let's fill up this Excel sheet. For example, I'll say that title 1. So this way I have generated this complete Excel sheet. I could have put the state, subset, all these stuffs, but I'm just putting at that string field at that moment, description, title, and the location. Let's save that and go back to the ServiceNow here. Under the ServiceNow, now I have to select the Excel file. So let me do that. So I have selected this Excel sheet, and then I'll click the upload button. Once we click the upload button, the Excel is going to be uploaded to the ServiceNow instance, and this is showing the progress bar where it is automatically updated all that row into the ServiceNow. Once your Excel sheet uploaded here, what will be happening? It's actually did not create the data to the books table. If I refresh that in books table, till now this data is not inserted to the book table at all. Now what will be happen? We have to preview the import data. So now you can see the data is actually imported to a particular import set table. We will discuss this further, but let's say that right now the data is in between something in between the actual table. So this is the actual table, book table. In between there is a some where the data is stored, and then it's have a capacity to preview that data. So I can click this gear button, and then I can add the book title, description, and then location field to see that all the fields are populated correctly or not. And here you can see all the fields data are actually corrected. And then what we can do, we can simply go to the bottom and click the complete import. And so once you click the complete import, now this time the actual table, this is a book table, the data is automatically populated. And here you can see all these data are right now populated. So now this time the data is loaded correctly. So this way we can actually load the data, or if your data is in Excel sheet format, you can load the data to the ServiceNow. So this way we can load the data into the ServiceNow by quickly right click and then import import options, and then from there we can generate the Excel, and then we can populate all these options and we can import the data. Let's say that you have this template already. Let me delete all this data right now. So I'll just go and then delete that. So I have deleted this all the record right now. Let's say that I already have Excel sheet prepared, and I know that this is the second time I'm loading the data. So I used to do this frequently, these things, and then this time I'm going to load the data on the same table. What we can do, we can right click again, import options here, and this time I don't need to generate the Excel sheet or template for me, because I used to do that, previously I already do that, and my Excel sheet is already prepared. So you can uncheck these options, and then you can directly upload the file. So I'll do directly upload the file. Once I select this Excel sheet directly and click upload here, same process will be carry forward, but this time it's not generate any template. You don't need to download the template. If you have already Excel sheet, you can use that. So it is actually importing the data. Meantime, if we go back to the visit the books table, let's say that I'm going to the books table. Right now there is no data at that moment again. This data is loaded, and in between something in the ServiceNow layer, but actually in this books table the data is not came here. We need to preview the data. We need to verify that all the data is correctly there. So we need to click here, and then we can add the book title, location, and book description, all this field, and we need to verify this all these data are correct. And once we confirm that data is correct, we can then only click the complete import, and the data will be automatically imported to the ServiceNow instance called book table. So this is the one method we can, the very simplest method that using the Excel sheet we can load the data. Second thing is the same mechanism, little bit complex. We can talk about that import set method. Okay, and this is a very familiar method, or most of the ServiceNow developer they know. Using the import set method, we can, load the data. What we have to do, we will create we have a table called u underscore book table. So this is our correct table, or this is our targeted table where the data has to be loaded there. Before that, we'll generate a staging table, or you can say the source table, whatever. There is many names. So source table, staging table. So we are going to create a staging table called, let's say, the temp book, temp book. So we are going to create a table called temp book, where through the Excel, first we'll load all the data to this table. Once we load all the data to this table, if we want to write some script, if we need to validate something, we'll do, or we'll use the transform map mechanism. Using the transform map, what will be happen through this temporary table, data will be transformed to the book table through the transform map. So let's see actually in the real-time scenario. First I'll do and delete all this data here. So all these data are clean. Let's understand one more time. We are going to insert the data to the book table, right, through the Excel. So this is the book table where we are going to insert the data. And this is our target table. So this is our target table where we are going to import the data through the Excel sheet. Now, in between, we are going to create or use the table called source table, or we can say the staging table. So there could be two names, staging table or source table. And this, we are going to create a temporary table called temp book, something, any name we can do that. So temp book, or T book, whatever we want to name that. So we are going to create a temporary table, and then using the temporary table, first we will, from the Excel sheet, we'll load the data to the temporary table. Once the data is loaded to the temporary table, what we'll do, we'll create or we'll use a mechanism or one script object or one object called transform map. So we are going to use the transform map in between this staging table or source table to the target table. Okay. The transform map will decide. Transform map have a many component. We have a script sections. We have various type of script. We have field map. Using that, which field will go to the where. Using this transform map will take care all these steps, and then they will directly insert to this book table. So let's go actually see how it works into the ServiceNow. Before loading this data to the ServiceNow, I have prepared this Excel sheet, and this is the same Excel sheet that we are going to use that. And here I just removed that sheet 1. So I removed the sheet 1. So we have various header here. So let's say I'll remove all these header that I'm not going to use that, and I'll maybe remove all these things that I'm not going to use there. So this is my Excel sheet. So this is the Excel sheet, and this Excel sheet I'm going to use to the ServiceNow. And using this Excel sheet, I'm going to load the data using the transform map. So the transform map is little bit complex. So if you have little prior knowledge, that is very good. Otherwise, I'll tell you that step by step. So very first thing is that to load the data, we have to visit a module called load data. So this is under system import set application. There is a module called load data. You can click that, and once you click that, it will open a UI page. Here you have two options called import set table, and here we have options called create table, existing table. So we have two options, create table or existing table. So if you are loading this data first time, so you have to select the create table. If you are loading the data second time, you can use the existing table and load the data. So as I said that first we have to create a temporary table for this case, right? So first thing, I'll put the table name here called, let's say the book temp. Okay, so this is the temporary table. I'm going to select that. If you know that existing table, or if you know that this table for this table there is existing table, you can use that. So this is the first time I'm loading the data. I'll put the name equal to book temp, and automatically it's generate a table. I need to select the file from my computer. I just select my Excel sheet from the computer, and here you can see sheet number and then row number. So if you see here in this Excel sheet, we can create multiple sheet, right? So this is our first sheet, and then header is the first. So this is the normal configuration. I'm not going to change anything. What I'll do, I'll click submit button here. Once I click the submit button, you can see it's showing that process insert 21. So let's see that how many data we have. So we can see we have totally 21 data, you can see, and this 21 data is actually insert to this ServiceNow. Now refresh that, similar things. You can see the data is not actually inserted to the book table. Where the data is right now, the data is under this temporary table called the book temp I have created. So let's go back to this table called, we created a table called u_book_temp, where this data should be present. So you can click here, and you can see all this data, 21 data is right now under this books_temps table. So this is nothing but a called staging table or import set table. There is a many name I told you, right? Source table, staging table, or import set table. So in this table, at that moment, the data is present. From this table, using the transform map, the data is going to be inserted to the target table or the actual table called book table. So this is the temporary table where the data will be there. From this table, the data will be copied to the actual table or targeted table. Right? Before that, if you want to do any validation, if you want to do any kind of things, we can do. Now let's go back here, and here, as I said that to do that, we need a transform map, right? We need a transform map. So we are going to create a transform map. I'll click the create transform map. Here, I need to be put the transform map name. So let's say that transform map name is the book map. For example, this is the transform map I'm giving that, and here you can see the source table is automatically pre-filled with the book temp. Now here we need to be target table. We have a target table where we need to be put that data. So we want to put the data to this book table, right? So we'll copy this table name and select that as a here called target table is the book table. So I'll paste that table name and select that. So right now from this staging table, you can see source table or staging table or import set table, the data we are going to transform to the actual table called books table. Okay. And here there are many configuration. If you want to know details about transform map, you can check others video. But if you want to run some script, you can click here and then run that. If you want to run the business rule which is present to the books table during the data load, you can make sure this checkbox is checked. If you want to do some mandatory fields validation, you can do that. So all these stuffs, there are many things you can do that. So I am not doing anything. I'll just save that. So what will be happen? A transform map created. So right now we have created the transform map. Now next thing is that we need to be mapped the field. Okay, map this field means that there is a temporary table created, right? So book temp is the temporary table. This is a temporary table, and if I open this one of this record, there are many fields. You can see location, description, state, book title, state. All these field are created from your Excel sheet. So this is your Excel sheet. From this, all these fields got created. What we can do, we have to map. So let's map that. So I'll click the mapping assist here. So now once I click the mapping assist, you can see the left side we have a book temp table and right side we have actual table called book table. Now we have to be mapped. So to whom, to what I have to map? So left side book title and right side book title will be mapped. Left side book description will go to the right side book description. Then location, I need to be put that here, and then this location I need to be put that. Okay, so we pretty much map that. So this temp table, we have a control that if you want to map between other field, we can map that. So book title will go to the book title, book description will go to the book description, and location will go to the location. That's it. If you want to map the state and substate, we can do that. Right now we don't have any data. I'll just click the save. And this transform map actually saved. Now on the bottom, we have an option called transform. We'll click the transform options. Once we click the transform options, the transform map name is showing right now. So we'll click transform, and this data is actually going to be inserted to the book table. If I refresh that, all the data are populated into the book table. So let's open one of the record. So this is the book number, book title, and then book description. Everything will be automatically pre-populated. You can see everything was pre-populated through this Excel sheet. Now let's say that I have already created the data, transform map, everything. Now I came tomorrow, I need to load the data. Do we need to do all these steps? No, you don't need to do all these steps again. Let's say I'm deleting all this data from this table, and tomorrow, let's say that I'm coming here and I need to insert the data to this table. How we can do the data load? Type the load data again, and this time we'll open this load data in a new tab. So this is the second time I'm loading the data. Then I don't need to be select the create table. I need to be select the existing table. And what is that import set table we use? So we use the import set table is the book temps. So if you remember that the last steps we created this import set called book table, books temps table. So we are going to use the existing table, and now here I need to be select the Excel sheet. So I have selected this Excel sheet, and once I click submit, what will be happen? Let's see. The data 21 data got inserted, and here you can see the extra one button is showing called run transform map. So previously in previous steps we created the transform map, we created the table, and this time I don't need to do mapping, we don't need to do the transform map because the transform map is already there. I just simply click the run transform map, and you can see before doing actually transform, you can see the table is empty right now. So these mapping steps, creating the transform map steps are skipped. Right now, if we can simply click the transform, all the data will be actually transformed to this targeted table. So you can see all the data got transported to the targeted table. So this way you can again transform the data to the books table or any of this table. Last not the least, this is the XML method. So everyone know that some data did not capture through this update set. Basically, incident, problem, change, any of this data did not or cannot be captured through the update set. Basically, for that, what we can do, we can do the XML import. Why we need to do the XML data import? So if we use the XML data import, what will be happen? Let's say that this is our dev environment, and from this dev environment, I need to be move some data from dev to the test environment, right? So for that, what we can do, we can do the XML data import. Using the XML data import, we can actually load the data, or bulkly we can load the data from one environment to the another environment, or maybe one environment to the same environment. Okay. So what is the benefit that XML data import? If you use the XML data import, their CSID will be remain same. So if we do through the Excel sheet, what will be happen? It will generate a new CSID for that, and for that record. But if we do the XML import, the CSID will be remain same. Let me give you one method, or let me show you that how we can do the XML import. Let's say this is the one environment, and if I open this data, okay, so I open this data. So this is the one data or one record right now. So we can just do a XML first export, and then we can use the XML import. So I'll go export and then click the XML exported right now. So this data is exported in a XML format, right? Now this is the CSID of this data. Now what I'll do, I'll remove this data. So what is the data? The title 4. I will delete this title 4 data here. I'll simply delete that. Okay. So instead of 21 data right now, it will have the 20 data. So I deleted one data. Now this was my previous data. If I refresh or if I duplicate that, it will show the data not found or record not found. You can see this is not showing the record is not found because I deleted this data. Now through the XML, if you do the XML import again, the data can be added here. So if I right click and then there is an option called import XML, and here I need to choose the XML file that has been downloaded. I choose the file that has been downloaded and click upload button. The data will be restored. So you can see this data got restored. Now if I refresh this tab, you can see the data is visible and then CSID did not change. Basically the idea is that if you do the XML import, the data or the CSID will be remain same and there will be no business rule will be run. During the XML import, the business rule will not be run. Okay, so another thing you need to be keep in mind that business rule will not be run, but the transform map, the business rule can be run. Let's say that what I'll do. So this is the only one single record I have imported. What will be happen to the bulk load? So I can right click here, top, export here. So to single data export, we can right click here, then export an XML. But to load the bulk data or to export bulk data, you need to go to the list of the record. So this is the list of the record of the table. Right click, export and XML. And then you need to download that. So what will be happen? Right now it will download that instead of specific data, it will download complete list of the data. Now what I'll do, I'll delete that data. So I'll delete that at that moment, all the data. So I have deleted all this data right now. Now how we can get or how we can load the data, all the data. So we can right click again, import XML and then choose the file that we have downloaded earlier. I have choose this file and click upload. What will be happen? All this data will be uploaded and their CSID will be remain same. But remember that the business rule or any kind of script is present to this table will not be run. So this way we can do data load through the XML also. That's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day.